Hi, everybody, and welcome to Kalicube Tuesdays on a Friday with Fabrice Canel. Welcome, Fabrice.
Welcome. Hello, everybody.
A quick hello, and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Fabrice Canel. We thought we'd do this on Friday the 13th because Friday the 13th is a special day. I like Friday the 13th because I think there's a character called Jason in Friday the 13th, the film. So it speaks to me, and I don't believe in bad luck on the 13th, so we're fine here today. Welcome everybody in the audience. Afraid that LinkedIn hasn't worked. We made a mistake with the scheduling, so anybody who's on LinkedIn, come over to, oh no, you can't. So we have to hope the people in LinkedIn think I'll go to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter to watch this. Now, Fabrice, we're going to be talking about all of this stuff. So these are the questions that I'm going to be asking you. We'll be talking about all of this stuff, and I'll let people read it. Everybody can read. So there's no need for me to read it. What I just need to do is fill in the time whilst people are reading the bullet list before we start the show. And we're going to start the show with Friday the 13th. Bing's result on Friday the 13th. That's brilliant. That's so rich, and it's so informative, and it's balanced. That's what I noticed most of all. It's a balanced result, explaining what the Friday the 13th is. It includes the film, lots of images, lots of options. Have you got anything to say about that?
Yeah, it seems good. I mean, satisfying the user is your goal, and here apparently we do pretty good.
You do, rather. You do better than Google. They're completely focused on the date, and they've got the picture of the film, and you can claim the knowledge panel for the date, which seems to me incredibly strange as an idea. Jono Alderson runs a website about the different dates and celebrations in the year of the calendar. So I've suggested to him that he might want to go and claim every single date of the year on Google, which would be a lot of fun. Next up, Google's duplicated you. In fact, it's triplicated you. There are three different Fabrice Canels, and they're obviously the same person.
Yes,
so Google, we're going to talk about the update. There's the killer whale update, which I'll talk about right at the end. And this is part of the killer whale update. And I was looking at Bing for myself in French because we both speak French. That's a great result. And apparently, you guys at Bing see me as a voice actor, and I'm associated with Ralph Fiennes, but I am a voice actor, and I like that. That makes me feel happy.
Great.
So thank you, Bing. Now on to the questions, the serious stuff, which is what everybody's here for. We've got quite a lot of people watching. We've done the 3-minute introduction. I'll tell the people watching, please do post your questions in the comments. We will try to answer them as we go through. I'll try to integrate them into the show as we go through the questions. And we're going to start with what insights has user interaction with Bing Chat brought? But before that, briefly explain what Bing Chat is so that we're all on the same page.
So Bing Chat is this new abilities that we have enabled only 7 months ago now, to enable an experience that is enabling customer to do far more complex query. You have this very large text box where customer can enter sentences, almost paragraphs. You see that here there is up to thousands of characters that we can enter. This is not anymore the small, very little things that customers are entering before in typical search. And they can really ask a lot of long question, and not only question, but also continue on the question, a chat experience where they will continue iterating to dig based on the answer in what we are looking for, and obviously we try to satisfy them by this experience.
Brilliant. I didn't realize I could have asked a huge question with context and everything. I'll try that afterwards. I don't think people realize that. We're still stuck in the search box idea where we type in 6 or 7 words and we're feeling pretty ambitious there already. But in fact, I could type in a whole context with a question afterwards.
Yeah, and we see people obviously doing this. This is people that know exactly what they want. This is the typical search. You go to a search engine, you type YouTube. Yes, you go to YouTube, you click the first link. This is mostly navigational queries. You may want also an answer. You may want the weather of the day, the weather, a specific location. You get your answer, you're happy. That's it. Then this is things that are more, I sort of know what I want, but you don't really know. And so this is, what is the best coffee machine? Okay, there is not really one answer there. There is a series of answers. Is coffee good for you? Yes, no, it depends of your condition and if you like coffee or yes or no. But you can do really complex query. So Alex example of query, I need to throw up a dinner party for 6 people who are vegetarian. Can you suggest a 3-course menu with a chocolate dessert? And this is things that we are able to answer now. So being it's all about satisfying the end user. And sometimes it's all about exploring the web, but sometimes it's all about understanding the web and providing this kind of experience where at the end we can launch the clicks to the website, having extremely qualified clicks. And this is something we've seen where clearly when people are clicking, this is extremely qualified clicks and this translates benefit for the end user, for the website, certainly more than search engine, typical search engine.
Absolutely brilliant. And one question, moving over to Google very briefly, is Marie Haynes shared this, and it struck me this seems to be quite similar to Bing Chat, and it's called Fresh Prompt. Obviously, you don't know what's happening at Google. It's not your problem. That looks something in the region of Bing Chat.
Yeah, so fundamentally, this is what we have abilities to do in Bing Chat that we don't really have out of the box of in search. It's a little bit more time to really go deep in understanding the query, understanding what the query can return as a result. This means that I need to drink a little bit of water, sorry about that.
And in the meantime, Jeannie Hill says hello from Minnesota, and she loves your accent.
Hello, great. So this is all about at the end be able to have an orchestration between the queries itself and the ranking and the profile of a user to really go deeper in understanding what the user is looking for and retrieving from the set of content, doing multiple queries on the system to be able to retrieve the best content on the internet. So this
Brilliant.
is, yeah,
we're going to talk about the, sorry, excuse me, I interrupted, but we're going to talk about the multiple queries in a moment. But so my question right now is, I mean, obviously you've been tracking user interaction. Nathan Chalmers told me that user interaction data, mouse moving and clicking and so on and so forth, is used in the whole page algorithm at Bing. I would assume you're using it at Bing Chat as well. What have you learned from user interaction with Bing Chat?
So this is the interesting part. This is for the last 25 years or 30 years, all customers worldwide have experienced search engine where they were entering a query box and a set of 10 blue links. And this has completely changed with such experience where it's a chat. So this is we are geeks. I think most people listening to the chat are really technical experts, user experience experts, and they are comfortable with experience. When you are sending such experience to a set of new users, the first thing is, what's happening? Oh my God, what this is all about? Because clearly they never see that before. And obviously, also we were not really doing testing externally. It's not something that was disclosed before we shipped. And when we shipped, okay, this was completely new for a large set of users. And little by little, we see that they learn how to experience this new interface, and we learn from that. So yes, obviously we are understanding what customers are doing to be able to tweak and satisfy at the end the user. And something we see also that Google is starting to do this kind of experience, more chatty, more conversational. people have a discussion with the engine. And so, yeah, as more people are learning how to use that, yes, this is things that will continue to evolve as the 10 blue links has evolved over years.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Oh, I love that answer. And the next question is, I was wondering how many people have figured out you can make these incredibly long queries if you want to? And how far behind am I in having learned that from you today?
Yeah, so again, when you go to a search engine and you query for a navigational query, you don't really this experience. You may still want to go to this experience if you want to refine your query to learn more about Wikipedia, and you can drill into what is Wikipedia and so on. But again, mostly this is about navigational query and go to this experience. So this is not only about sometimes we are prompting and suggesting this experience in the search results based on the query itself. When we see a very long query where we don't really know what this is, and we may want to kind of ask the user to refine the queries, to improve the queries, and we can suggest text, then this is something that you will also surface, that we will also surface in the search results to help the user to understand that, oh, maybe there is this other tools, this chat experience that can help the user to find more on the internet. Yeah.
Super. Lovely. Absolutely. Now, I was really curious. Obviously, you've been looking at the data and you've been looking at how people interact with the super duper Bing chat over the last 6 months. Has it changed your plans or your strategy at all? Or did you get it right out of the box?
We never get things right out of the box. This is search engine is all about learning and tuning. And this is a massive kind of data mining experimentation, ongoing experimentation, where engineers, me and others are coming with new ideas, and we are ideas and flighting and testing, and at the end, this is all about satisfying the user. Search engine have improved a lot. They continue to improve, and this new technology help us to improve even faster and certainly better to satisfy even more user. We see that the satisfaction of user at Bing has really improved even more in the last 6 months than before. So this is continuous improvement of the technology.
Right. If I may show this slide, is that what this represents?
Yeah, this was kind of one of the what we call hockey stick. This is one of the big improvement that this technology enabled for at one time in the system. Mean that we were seeing some incremental improvement, and here this is this big hockey stick where you see kind of a new plateau, a new story about, hey, clearly the results have improved a lot. And since we continue to see this plateau happening because as the team is mastering even more the technology, even more the experience, and more important, we understand even more what customers are doing, or customers are using the technology. We can refine, and using the experience, we can refine it and improve it.
Brilliant, wonderful. And we're going to talk about the hockey stick that we just saw there, and potential future hockey sticks, and why there's a plateau in question 6. So one question that I have been curious about, and I thought we had found the maximum when we saw 4 questions or 4 queries behind a Bing chat answer. But you told me the other day that there's much more going on behind the scenes. There's a cascade of queries going on.
Yeah, it may happen, it will happen. It's really depending on the query itself. When the query is, again, and it can be in chat, really kind of a navigational query, you want to learn about what is Wikipedia and so on, then clearly the first set of results are highly relevant, and you don't need to do additional queries too much on the system to see there is additional queries. But sometimes there is, again, I was sharing this very long query, that is a real query from user about, hey, I want to throw a dinner with people to try to find, this kind of things that clearly you never see before in search engine. And the technology enable this experience where we are able to retrieve dinner options for the customer. and linking obviously to the website to refine and to learn more about what this plates are all about. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because this query, and I'll just put it up really quickly, there it's obvious there must be multiple queries going on behind, because you can't compile that answer from one set of results. And
Yeah.
I'd never thought about it because I had never asked anything that complex before.
Yeah, and as first we demo that, we kind of, I don't say market via Bing reward, via links in the tool, that we explain to customer that, hey, no, you can do these queries. And as we explain and demo via links and marketing type of things, then this is people are start to understand that they can do such complex query. And you see people absolutely delighted by this experience, generating more qualified clicks, because they never saw that before. This is clearly be able to really understand deeply the web, to really link to the perfect results on the web. And again, this is, we see this kind of, as there is a larger text box, as there is people can enter more, and people can understand that they can do more, then they do more, and then they are amazing, delighted. Before such query in search engine, this was 0 results, clearly, because there was no content on the internet that were having all these keywords, all these terms. No, the technology has evolved. This is not about really term matching. This is really understanding the context of the query, the context of the user, to really retrieve the best content on the internet. So the verbs of the user matter even more these days. People want to say, I want to book a ticket to this thing. And book, maybe not really in the content of a page, but we know that it's a booking activity. So maybe this is all about retrieving the event itself, where people then can book the content. So think the technology really improve. Don't think about keyword and search engine and so on. Think about satisfying the user for a set of queries that they think they will do.
Yeah, and sorry, this just struck me a couple of things. Number one, verbs are super important. And number two is, everybody's been saying focus on user intent, focus on satisfying the user. And this is the first time, you've just pointed it out to me, and I feel a bit foolish now, the first time where it's very clear that that's what's happening. Because you're answering the question, you're stopping the hopping backwards and forwards from the SERP, you're giving us the answer, and our capacity to satisfy the user when they eventually do click on a link onto our site is the single most important thing. And the verbs help you to get them to us with the do words, as we called them at primary school.
Yeah, this is obviously, if a customer specify a verb, this is important, but if a customer, do not specify a verb, then this is all about understanding the context of this query in this specific chat, or the ability to understand what the session was all about. Because maybe you want to search, give me a restaurant, okay? Maybe we will give a list of restaurants near you, and then you can say, hey, I want a vegetarian restaurant, okay? And then you have a list of vegetarian restaurants. Or give me a vegetarian one, and give me one that can accommodate 20 people. So again, you don't repeat the restaurant story, you just continue the chat experience, and we have a full context of the full session, and helping to reply your question. And for search engine optimization, is mean that what it mean? It mean at the end that you may care about keyword, and you should care about keyword, because we need to know that it's a restaurant for vegetarian. We need to know that it can accommodate a large group of people. But this is less about really matching the query. This is again not really matching. This is matching what people are searching, looking for.
Yeah, which is delightful. And also the fact that people are actually now having a conversation to get to the bottom, don't necessarily need to put that huge query in, but the combination of the questions or the sub-queries that they're making end up making that big query. Now, here's a question. Oh, that wasn't a question. That's Zara. Hello, Zara. Lovely to see you here. Does Bing chat algorithm and search algorithm are the same? Are Bing and chat algorithm, the Bing chat algorithm and the search algorithm the same?
This is an excellent question. So first of all, in Bing Chat and Search, we benefit obviously of a big index. It's not, let's say, a large language model store that you interact. here we benefit from not only this new tech that we are having, but also by having a deep interaction with the index itself. So mean that we can do, we are doing multiple queries and retrieving from this query the best content on the internet. It's not a static set, it's a dynamic set. You benefit from having the latest content index, and we have technology for that to make sure that content can be indexed, latest content can be indexed in second. But it's really this kind of interaction with the best content on the internet that we can retrieve, and we do multiple queries to retrieve. So overall, I will share that the technology is the same, but in chat, there is even more complex queries that are done to really retrieve the content, analyze the content. Chat gives us access to more time to do a little bit more things, understanding, also interacting deeper with the user via the chat experience and session, where we can also not only suggest text, suggest verbs that the customer can do to continue the discussion with the search engine to retrieve the best content on the internet.
Wonderful answer. Crumbs. I didn't expect such a clear and full answer. That's actually incredibly helpful with the idea of a little bit more time. Because you're printing it out little by little, it gives you more time to actually behind the scenes figure out the answer. Now, my next one was, how much difference will future LLM updates make to the results? Because you mentioned LLM, and it's an LLM, a large language model, using the live search queries, or the search queries and the large language model working together to produce this result. So when the large language model updates, how much difference will that make to the results? Or is it the search results themselves that are the most important?
Yeah, so first, LLM is just one of the technology that we are leveraging, and there is far more. Some that we cannot already disclose, but yeah, we explain this kind of orchestration of all these query results, how we are interacting with the index. This is something that we went in depth to explain how this is really working, and so pleased to tell you today.
Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus. This is the Prometheus model.
Can I show that?
You can show that. Yeah, you can show that. This is this. So this is really this chat answer, the user query. You understand the context, and then you really having this orchestrator that is really interacting, querying again based on what we can retrieve from the big index. So again, when you interact directly with a model, that's a static. It does not include the lat content. Here, not only we are interacting with the language model, but we are really iterating with the search engine to retrieve the best content. And so this technology this is magical. This is you are able, as we demonstrated before, to answer very complex query on a restaurant, very, very long queries, very long complex query. And clearly this is something that was not there 9 months ago. So so as people are experiencing this, they say, wow. And people that discover it and use that, then they are stick to it. I am stick to it for personal life, where I've got to search things. Okay, again, navigational, yes, but then I switch to chat when I want to really experience this experience. And I don't want to do 25 in the search results to try to find the best content, because this is kind of useless, not good for website that see a visit, but then nothing is happening. And so at the end this is really improving the experience of the user and the life of the user.
Okay, brilliant. So I mean, from my perspective, I've suggested that Bing Chat is multiple mini featured snippets or a dynamic knowledge panel. Which do you feel is closest?
I think at the end of the day, fundamentally, this is both, and this is something this is really something that is new. I mean, again, based on the experience, we may surface an answer if you are a knowledge panel like thing. If you are searching for, give me some generic information about Wikipedia. Again, maybe we don't satisfy this query today, but it's kind of the intent is really to surface some information about Wikipedia and retrieve this information about what is Wikipedia, when it was founded, and blah. So this is kind of displaying some kind of information like that.
Right, sorry, you've just made me realize something. I've been saying a dynamic knowledge panel because I focus on the navigational queries, which are branded queries, and that's what Kalicube is all about. What does Bing and what does Google return when you search a brand name or a personal name? So I would see them, Bing Chat and Google Search Generative Experience, as dynamic knowledge panels. But if I'm asking about a transactional query or a research query, it's more like a multifaceted featured snippet. Brilliant. Thank you. You've just made that really clear for me. And I was making the mistake of thinking it was either one or the other, but it's actually both. Brilliant. And we're coming back to tech. I think it's GitHub. Does it mean Bing search for static pages is also influenced by Bing Chat?
So this is a multifaceted question.
Oh no.
So if the question is static pages won't be retrieved and you need to change them from a SEO standpoint to be surfacing in Bing Chat? Maybe not really. This is, again, you have some very good static content on the internet that is sticking forever, that is there. And this is kind of a really relevant, perfect, we call that perfect, content on the internet for this type of queries. So if this is about changing the content, making it more fresher, it may not matter so much. For sure, if you search about events in the world, you are more looking about the latest events that is happening in the world. And so then this is freshness obviously matters. So freshness of the content, or if the page is static or dynamic, often what we care is satisfying the user. That's it. So it's not about, you should not trick to have the latest content and update your publication date every day to think that we are fresher. Doesn't matter. At the end, it's all about satisfying the user.
Wonderful. And you mentioned perfect content. You have a concept of perfect content, which is the evergreen stuff that will always rank.
Yeah, so we call that perfect because it's perfect. It's a perfect. it's perfect.
Like a perfect click.
Yeah, the perfect clicks. What is it's the click.
Oh, well, we'll come back to that. Sorry, let's finish with perfect content, then we'll come back to the perfect
Sure.
click.
So what is perfect content is a content that is highly satisfying the user. And for this query, you query for something and it can be exceptionally good, but then this may not obviously match another query. So for this kind of query for your intent, then you can, if you see this link and you visit this page, you can be very extremely satisfied. You query for YouTube again, more likely we see all these clicks coming to the YouTube homepage. Yeah, because more likely this is your intent and this is satisfying the user.
Super. Slightly off topic for a couple of questions here. Speaking out of the box, really appreciate providing at least some insights into Bing Chat use. Are there plans to separate out the data from search and chat in the near future?
Yeah, we will.
In Bing Webmaster.
Yeah, so first we have improved Bing Webmaster tool a few weeks ago, last month, where we have enabled, first we have extending the Bing performance report, and now are reporting not only, before it was only web plus some crawling and indexing data, and now we have extended that to report on web plus chat. We have extended to report also on news, image, video, knowledge panel. So this is far more data, which is always good for the SEO community because you can dig and find issues for your site, maybe issues with Bing, please, and we have tools to help you. So encouraging everybody to go to Bing Webmaster tool to visit and collect data and see what this is all about. But yeah.
So sorry, with Bing Webmaster tool, what you're doing is saying we're going to give you the data to the SEO community so that you can help your clients help us help them. Does that make sense?
True. So this is fundamentally, this is Bing Webmaster tool is a tool for the Webmaster to get more users visiting the site. By fixing indexing issues at Bing, but also offering data to help optimizing pages for all search engines. So this is it can be specific to Bing. Obviously, we will tell you if you are indexed or not at Bing, and you can fix that if assuming you want this page to be indexed, and providing guidelines, but also providing tools for all search engine. Example of data that we are providing that you may not find in Google Search Console, this is backlinks. We offer backlinks not only for your site, but for any site. So you can compare your site, and so let's say a competitor site, and see who is linking to the competitor site. We offer also something that is unique, that is Site Explorer, where you can drill into your site to know not only the links on your site, the pages on your site, but also the most clicked page impression. So you can navigate your site through the number of clicks and impression, unique. Again, this is not about Big Webmaster Tool, so I will pause that, but I encourage everybody to go to Big Webmaster Tool.
Yeah, if you're not going to Bing Webmaster Tools every single day, you're missing out on a huge trick. Next, we've actually got Austin, who's asked this question. Austin is a Kalicube Pro agency, so great friend of ours, working with us, using Kalicube Pro to help his clients with knowledge panels and brand SERPs and digital strategies. And here's a huge question: is basically, will 10 blue links disappear?
Yeah, again, I do not believe that. Again, don't know if mindset of people evolve and they really prefer chat, why not? But I still feel that there is a set of queries where the 10 blue links are really satisfying the user today. And so this means, again, you query for specific query, navigational query. You just certainly don't want, at least me, I don't want to have an experience where there is asking me more questions. No, I want to click this link. This is the link. I know where I want to go. I don't remember the domain names, but I want to go there. And so this is kind of a directory address book where, okay, this is, oh, I know, this is perfect. Thank you. I'm done. I am visiting the site now. So, and this is when you don't really need a huge experience, and you need really this navigational story. And so blue links satisfy your need.
Right, but the blue link from that perspective, it's already old school in the sense that you need the blue links, but you also need video results, you need image results, you need multimedia content. But whatever happens, all of this content is always going to be there philosophically behind the scenes. So philosophically, for us at least, the blue links will always exist. Whether or not they disappear from the search results is a different question.
True. So you need, it's not necessary, obviously, to augment your content and to do very complex things on your pages, depending on what the pages are all about. Again, if you are the government website to tell information about the government, you may not want to add video and multimedia and image and whatever. You really want to have people be able to find this website and to link this website where you will provide information on taxes and regulation and whatever. So this is all about, at the end, is being visible and offering a link to the website. If you are a recipe website, oh yeah, you want to augment your recipe with ingredients and images because it will attract the clicks. But yeah, depending on the queries and the context, you may not want to add too much information. It's really about if you are searching for Jason Barnard. Oh yes, you want the image of Jason. You want the text. You want to know who this is. So this is, yes, you want to add information to your pages to retrieve this. Who is this person?
Super, absolutely brilliant. And before we get back on track, really quickly, this question from sorry, I've got mixed up now. I'm in the wrong place of the list. Jeannie Hill asked this question: how do you select entities for answer cards in your PAA answer carousel?
Yeah, so again, this is fundamentally about kind of what we call whole page ranking. This is about really understanding the intent of a user and placing the best answers in the page. Again, you search for YouTube to again come back to this query. You really want to navigate to YouTube. You don't want more likely a YouTube answer with the address of YouTube company information. No, it says you want the link. So again, our knowledge of the internet understand that we are able to understand that for a specific query, we can obviously classify the query, classify the intent of the user, and we'll display the best kind of widget that this says blue links, chat, we have an answer, and so on, based on this intent of the user. And so they say, so yeah.
Right, and so the selection of which elements you put on the SERP is a lot to do with presumably the bidding system that Gary has talked about at Google, but also what Nathan Chalmers talked about with your Darwin algorithm, which he found delightful and I find delightful. The whole page algorithm that can actually override the Darwinistic system that I described. And here, what Jeannie's question was, why did you pick, for example, these actors? And presumably it's because you, well, Bing, not you personally, obviously, perceive Jason Barnard as a voice actor because of the Boudoir and Quana series, and therefore you think that other voice actors would be relatively interesting for somebody who's searching my name.
Yeah, it can be our knowledge or previous queries about what people were doing when they were searching for your name. And so, or similar double quote entity. You're an entity, by the way. So it's all about really, often this is satisfying the user on this query, but it's also about suggesting potential related queries. In the 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you have a blue links, and you have remember this widget with related queries, where this was related queries. Now this is a little bit. You have still some related queries from some queries, but it's mostly about related kind of entities and related things that is happening to this person. And as people are using that, liking that, we see that there is benefit, and obviously we will continue using that or optimize to something else as we go, and understand to satisfy the user.
Ooh, I just thought of something. Number one is I've noticed that there are more entities in the related searches and the more entities in the searches, because he's saying, well, this entity that we're searching for in the brand SERP world, at least, would potentially lead the person to be interested in this other entity. If I added a do word to my query, that could potentially change the entities.
Yes, anything that is additional to the query may help the user to do one way or the other, do things that is helping the customer to, helping the search engine to better understand your query and to retrieve the best entity, the best widget for your query. Again, you should try out. It's really depending on not only your query, past queries, your profile, everything is in play to really at the end satisfy the user.
Super. Thank you for that question, Ginny. It helped me to ask a new question that I hadn't thought about before. Next question is, what is the perfect click?
This is the click that is perfect. So no, this is obviously you let's change, not speak about YouTube. Let's go to Wikipedia. Again, you query for Wikipedia, and then clearly you click the Wikipedia link, and clearly we see that the user is not coming back. It's staying on Wikipedia. It does not click back and click the second link to try to find Wikipedia. No, the first Wikipedia link was the good one, because this is a perfect click. Perfect.
So the perfect click is the end of the search session, or at least that section of it where the person goes away and has found the answer or the solution they were looking for.
Yeah. So this is she can go away, and yeah, we do believe that it's a very highly satisfactory click, but it's also the customer may come back quickly and search for something else, because when you are searching what is the store open hours, you click back, and then you search, what store tomato soup thing. So this is the intent of the query has completely changed. You were certainly satisfied. Yes, you have certainly the click.
So it's not the bounce rate that counts. Is the next
everything
query
count.
related to the previous one?
It's
Or
everything.
Is it a continuation?
It's clearly everything count, and everything can be depending on the query, depending on the user, depending on what also other users are doing. Sometimes you may have this one-off thing, and it may not be judged as a perfect clicks because maybe the customer was changing context, the kit came to ask another question, and then we were searching for something else. So again, you need data to assess if this was a very exceptional click or not, or you need judgment to see if this click was satisfactory or not.
Right. Now, to come back to brand SERPs, what I think now is the brand SERP is the ultimate perfect click, because wherever I click, if I've searched for Kalicube in this example, wherever I click, it's the perfect click because I'm clicking on the aspect of Kalicube that I was interested in. Therefore, Kalicube is founded on the perfect click. Isn't that glorious? And perfect content.
Yeah, you want to be as a if you are owning something, a brand, a product, you want to dominate the SERP. You don't want to see your competitors. You really want to see most of the links linking to you, except especially if some links tell you, oh, this product is really better than the other one. So this is all about, at the end, this is about dominating the SERP as SEO to be there in order that if people click in the blue links, they see you. If they click in the navigation entity knowledge panel, they see you. You are everywhere. You are dominating the SERP, yes.
Brilliant. So our job at Kalicube is to help our clients create the full set of perfect clicks with perfect content behind it. How lovely. That's completely changed my perception of what we do at Kalicube. And it's so simple.
And as don't think that the customer are evolving and search engine are evolving. So not only you have to dominate the SERP, but you have to dominate chat. You have to dominate this kind of conversation answers. So never forget that. You did very great via the screenshot, but that this is for the SEO community. I see way too many focus still on the SERP and not enough focus on the chat experience and conversation experience, where we see really stellar clicks in terms of what we are offering to the user is the ability to have this kind of perfect clicks. We aim to have a perfect clicks all the time. In search, we have perfect clicks, but there is a set of queries that is not correctly formulated by the user. We try to do our best to retrieve the best content. And here in chat, there is this whole experience and all this chat experience where we are able to land really the perfect clicks. And so this is more qualified clicks. And so I encourage everybody in the SEO community to pay attention to this, because these clicks are stellar, good quality clicks. And so please have a look.
Right. No, yeah, the I don't know what we would call it. It's the journey towards the perfect click. And that's what we should all be doing. Brand SERPs obviously is my obsession, but the aim is to create the content that will satisfy fully the perfect content that satisfies the perfect click. And what I liked about Bing Chat is when I did this is how fast it is with all the stuff that's going on behind it. And this description here, as we go through, is showing us what a knowledge panel is, using all these different resources. And in fact, they used the SEMrush article that I wrote, and SEMrush unfortunately rewrote it, kept some of my content and gave somebody else the authorship of it, which I'm quite annoyed about. But then we come down here, and you said, as a brand, you need to dominate. And as soon as we say, compare the knowledge graph and the knowledge panel, Kalicube is cited multiple times because we talk about it and we have, let's say, the perfect content to answer that question about the distinction between the knowledge panel and the knowledge graph.
Yep.
Super duper. How lovely. We've got a question from Jarno, who is the world's most obsessed person about schema markup. And he wants to know, do your machines consume and use structured data markup for training purposes, or do you base it mostly on NLP?
Yeah, so adding search engine, we spoke about magic and LLMs, and this is all beautiful magic. We should not forget really the basic of how LLM are formed and what is kind of feeding them to help not only the LLM but also the index to be relevant. So having fast indexing system, please adopt index now to get your content. Index now, this new protocol that is adopted by already plenty of search engine and far more are coming. Surprise in few weeks that will get your content in search engine very fast. In terms of second, this is a ping notification to get the content in. Second is that have your content based on basic template. Don't do the craziness things with plenty of Ajax calls to retrieve the content that the developer developing that will be great, will be very happy, but from search engine, this is a disaster. The machine learning is all about learning from a set of documents that is and then aligning to some judgment. The more basic you are, the more standardized you are, the better this is for the search engine. And as part of this, you really want to help the content to be understood by search engine. Mean not only add HTML tags, appropriate HTML tag to differentiate the headings from the paragraph and so on, but add structured data to help the index and help MLP to really MLM to really understand the what this is all about, what your content is all about. So all this information is leveraged real time as soon as we crawl the page for the index. LLM has a different life cycle. The SEO community I want to educate that because the SEO community does not have this notion, but LLM are not built at the same. This is not the same life cycle than building an index. Building an index is real time. Again, you use index now, you will get your content index in seconds. Added, updated, deleted information. In LLM, it takes weeks, months, more likely years to build the new LLM tech. So this is important for the SEO community because you have to do it right now, as soon as possible, to be part of the next LLM version. This won't be, I fix today, next week it's fixed in LLM. No, it won't.
Right. Well, we had this conversation with Jarno, indeed, about the timescale for LLMs, and Jarno suggested a year, and you seem to agree with the LLMs of next year are going to be using the data that's being collected right now.
Yeah, if you think about all search engine, this is kind of a life cycle that you need to target. You may have iteration in the middle, but really fundamentally this is about doing the right things now, today. And this is doing the right things benefit not only for search engine indexing, but also for LLMs. So let's be grounded. Search engine provide guidelines in what you should do and not do. Let's avoid the crazy Ajax calls, 20 Ajax calls to build a page, and let's be grounded into basic things that really works from the SEO standpoint. Leverage a great content management system that are SEO compatible to make your content out of the box friendly for search engine and for LLMs.
Right, and that brings me to another thing. Is I remember the Google Dance. I've been around so long that I remember the Google Dance, which was you would update your content. You would have to wait 3 months for Google to update its index. Same thing with Microsoft. And the Google Dance was once they released the new index, you would then find out if your super tricks in SEO had worked or not. And if it hadn't, you had to wait another 3 months to see if the next trick worked. So it was this dance of waiting and learning patience. And I now think that we have multiple, let's call them search engine dances going on now, which is the index with index now is pretty much real time, but then you have the knowledge panel dance, which is a few weeks, the knowledge graph, yours and Google's, which is to 3 months, and LLMs, which is a search engine dance of a year. Would that be fair comment?
Yeah, so I spoke about hockey stick at Bing, and clearly this was an hockey stick related to relevance of the results, but clearly has improved. So this has translated to some change in a number of clicks for some specific website, especially low quality website that may have seen less traffic coming to them. But at Bing, in general, we avoid this kind of big change, big wave of thing, because this is constantly ongoing. I mean, there is always improvement. The life cycle of a big engineer is to dream about a relevance improvement, to go to work the morning, to be able to code and test this experiment. And the afternoon, this engineer will start to get feedback. And next day, if it's good, then we can start flighting and testing and rolling the change. So this is multiple hundreds of experiments that are done on a course of a day to really test things, and the one that are good goes live. And so this is continuous improvement. It's not waves of improvement as we may see often in other search engines.
Right, okay, so brilliant, how lovely. So I can call it the Google dance, because at Bing, there isn't a Bing dance because it's all evolution, whereas Google has the dance going on, which is me saying it, not Fabrice, just to be really, really clear. I'm making all this up as I go along. Brilliant, wonderful, thank you so much. Next question along was, the hockey stick. AI right now seems to be this hockey stick that just will never stop, and it's going to get faster and faster and bigger and more complicated, and we're all going to get left behind. We can't keep up. We're all tired, and we're all desperately trying to figure all this out, and we're frightened that it's never going to stop and we're never going to get a moment to breathe. Is that what's going to happen, Fabrice?
Yeah, so again, at the end is what SEO should do. First thing is read the SEO guidelines from search engine. There is a lot to say. There is a lot in the press, generative AI, blah, 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 a lot. This is the information keep coming. At the end is let's be grounded. Let's go back to the basic and what search engine are communicating, because there is so much of AI things that people may forget the basic. So this is, I feel search engine guidelines are written by search engine every 2 to 3 years. We are revising the guidelines, Google, SEM, and others. We write the guidelines. I can assure you we spend time to think what we need to communicate, because it needs to stick for some time. And this is things that we are truly thinking to. This is we are helping ourselves by communicating these guidelines, because then we have less indexing issues with websites if people follow the guidelines. So this is, we try our best to tell exactly what you should do to be indexed and ranked in search engine, and also things that you should not do to not be ranked in search engine, because we can being detected as spam, and so please don't do that. So please spend time to read guidelines and to understand what this is all about. And this is telling you that yes, in this landscape of a lot of communication and things to do, you have to do again these basic foundation blocks that is helping you where you are grounded. And then you can focus on what? You can focus on two things, the content and your customer, to satisfy the customer, because all the technology will be there. Use content management system as Duda, as Wix, things that are really SEO compatible. And then you are building on this to get your content index on the top of it, and you focus on custom content. Related to stick back to that, yes, the technology is moving. Yes, we had access to new technology. This was kind of plateauing and improving, and we have a big hockey stick here, and we continue to have a hockey stick to improve. This is kind of a exponential. This is moving higher, better, and I still feel that we are still at middle school. We are not yet in high school, not yet in university. So there will be other technology coming. Someday there will be quantum computer that will help us even more to go to even more satisfy the user.
Brilliant. And yeah, and I'll use that as the example is we have that hockey stick that we can see on the right there, and then a plateau. And we could imagine that AI is that hockey stick, and there's going to be a plateau, and potentially, I'm sorry, that hockey stick with the AI is what you called a tech layer, followed by a plateau, followed by another hockey stick, which is the next tech layer. So from our perspective, two reasons not to be too worried. Number one is there's going to be a plateau so we can breathe. Number two is we don't need to necessarily understand all of this stuff. We just need to create great content for the user, which is what we've been told all along.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we can let you worry about the technology behind the search engine.
Yeah, again, if I am a CEO, I will use the best in class in terms of content management system. I will for sure adopt an XNO if the content management system is not supporting an XNO. I will have a sitemaps. And then I will focus on really my content, satisfying the customer. Satisfy the customer. I didn't say satisfy the search engine. Don't optimize for search engine, optimize for your customer. Have customer going to the site, being delighted by your content, by the experience on your site. This is who you should market, not the search engine. Search engine should be just part of the landscape. Yeah.
Brilliant. And here's a question from Russ Jeffrey. And he started with, I assume when he asked this next question, that OpenAI ChatGPT is extension into Bing. And this is the question. Will the lag time decrease over time? So we've got currently, I mean, he's talking about Google, but the LLMs, you're saying it's a year lag or a year dance that we're having with them. Will that decrease over time?
Yeah, so first, as the technology today to build LLM is what this is, and it takes not days. I explained that the life cycle of content and next generation is faster than the LLM. Yes, so depending on when the LLM release, you may see that one LLM may be fresher for a few weeks until the other LLM catch up, but it's kind of wavy. This is a wave. This is not real time. This is not second like search engine. So technology is improving. Again, at Bing, you don't have this problem at all because we are leveraging LLM, but we are also leveraging the index itself. So you have a double benefit, and then you have highly relevant results. Mean as new terms are happening on the internet, we are aware of these terms, and of people, maybe Jason Barnard will be the Stellar something, you change your name, you have a new name, and we'll be aware of that, where the LLM won't be aware of that. So that we are able to understand, and then we will query for, yeah, this person in fact was named Jason Barnard before, and we will retrieve the content for Jason Barnard.
Right, which is a really great point from my perspective. There's going to be a huge demand for personal rebranding. Because of the ambiguity of everybody's name, we're going to have a lot of people like Olga Zar, who changed because her name was complicated, so that's a really bad example. But Mark Preston, we helped him to rebrand to Mark A. Preston to reduce that ambiguity and to improve his brand SERP. And he rebranded and he said, after 3 months, it was really weird for me not to see Mark A. Preston. And my perspective as Jason Barnard, there are 300 Jason Barnards, and I can see them catching up with me, and they're not doing any work on it. So at some point, I'm going to have to rebrand to Jason M. Barnard or Jason Martin Barnard in order to avoid that ambiguity. And we're all going to have to rebrand, however good we are at SEO and brand SERP management. So for me, that's a huge, huge, huge question that people aren't yet thinking about. Would you agree, or are you not allowed to give an opinion on that?
Yeah, this is at the end is able to differentiate yourself. If you are a Jaguar, is it the car or the animal? Clearly, this is something that may help, or search engine will have to help. But if there is a 6 million Jason Barnard, yeah, this is a little bit difficult for search engine to land the perfect Jason Barnard on the initial query if customers do not specify additional context.
Oh, yeah. So if I rebrand, I increase the chances of getting the perfect SERP, the perfect content, and the perfect click. Wonderful, delightful. Last question is, what is happening with machine judges, ML quality raters? And I'll just give everybody a little bit of context here. I found this. Large language models can accurately predict searcher preferences through, I think it was this, there you go, this LinkedIn post by somebody at Microsoft. Can you explain what's going on here?
Okay.
Quality raters, you call them human judges. Are they going to lose their jobs?
So first, I no doubt that you use Bing to find this deep content. Yes.
I've been sorry, just to be really, really frank, for the last 6 months, I've been using Bing a lot more than I used to. And I've been using it because of Bing Chat, and also I want to understand, and I find this hugely interesting, but also because the chat experience is really good fun. But yes, I found that on Bing.
Yeah, thank you. So this is fundamentally, yeah, this is as technology is improving, the team disclose that they are experimenting with ability to judge content based on queries. So what does it mean? It means that the technology is able to not only understand deeply the profile of a user, to understand what he or she queries in the past, and really retrieve based on the links in the search result page the content, and to judge the content for this set of queries and a profile of a user. So this is something that is explored, something that is the team disclose what this is all about, and I think it's this is the human. This is not replacing the human at all. The human has still this expertise and this nuance, at least for now. I don't know in 60 years from today, but clearly for now, clearly the human has still a big play to really understand and make sure that whatever technology we use is appropriate and do not derail. And we are learning also as we go with these experiences. So we are always encouraging customers to provide feedback if this is something that is wrong with this new technology. Like for any blue links, this is if you see something that is totally inappropriate or bad, but also we are here to collect feedback and to tune the technology in order that these things that may be leaking do not appear anymore.
Brilliant. So machine judges is a reality. It allows you to figure out the quality of the SERPs, but humans will never be out of the loop because they have intuition, they have culture, they have humor, they understand irony, which the machine won't. Thank you so much, Fabrice. I know we've taken a lot of your time. It's been a whole hour. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm just going to really quickly announce that we've got free downloadable guides. Please take a screenshot of this so you can copy the link into your browser on Microsoft Edge, preferably. These are great. We're looking at generative AI. We're looking at Kalicube Pro for agencies. We're looking at the Knowledge Panel Handbook. And just announcing next week, Google's Killer Whale 2023 E18 Knowledge Graph update. I've been in the business for 25 years. This is the biggest update on Google I have ever seen. This is going to be absolutely huge. 25 years, I've never seen anything even come close to this. Thank you, Fabrice. Sorry for talking about Google whilst you were on the screen. But as a reward or a punishment, depending on how you look at it, you get the song. A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Fabrice. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you all.
Kalicube. It's all about your brand SERP.